42K Productions at your service. That song was a song I had tried to find for over 10 years. The history of that song, excuse me for a minute. Sorry about that. The history of that song, I was in honor chorus a long time ago in elementary school. I still remember my music teacher's name, Mrs. Audrey Neiman. Audrey, if you're seeing this, or Mrs. Audrey Neiman, if you're seeing this, thank you very much for predicting the future of music. So I want to get to this real quick, and then I want to start everything that I've wanted to start for a long time. This is something I've been wanting to say for a long time. Before we do, let's get to the first set of stuff. Mrs. Audrey Neiman, if you're seeing this right now, I want to say thank you for predicting the future of music, unfortunately. You didn't predict it entirely, but you did predict it. It's going to get worse. Speaking of another thing you and Mr. Gary Graham, our gym teacher back in the day, predicted in elementary school, that music and gym are going to combine. You know, a lot of people like us, most of us like gym rather than music, don't get me wrong, because I was in the early 90s into the late 90s, 2000s. Don't get me wrong, you and Mr. Gary Graham predicted the future that music and fitness were going to combine with each other. You were right. They both predicted that future. Nobody believed it. Not even me. So to you two, if you both are alive, which I know one of them is still alive, the other one I haven't seen in a while, and I was told that he was still alive. So to Gary Graham and Audrey Neiman, thank you very much. I appreciate what you've done for me. Now, I may not be the best student, and I wasn't the worst, but I was the one that was very determined. Hence the name Humboldt. How funny. So, now that we got that out of the way, here's the news. Welcome to the start of race week. My next race is exactly 7 days from today, a week from now. My next race will be the Des Moines Marathon, Half Marathon, and 5K. My race is the half marathon. Just want to let everybody know that real quickly. This will be my 14th half marathon ever in my life, my second half marathon out of state, my fourth race of the season for this year of 2023, and the one I've been preparing all for the last 65 days. I had a challenge that I somehow chose myself back. I chose myself. My challenge was this: run 10 miles in 3 consecutive days. I did it, everybody. The final day was yesterday. So I had yesterday, the day before that, and the day before that. I had to run 10 miles. 10 miles, 3 consecutive days. Each day, 10 miles for 3 consecutive days, for 3 days in a row. I did it. I was hurting so bad. Here's the challenge. Here's the catch of the challenge. You cannot go any lower than 5 miles per hour. It doesn't have to be on the treadmill, but treadmill is the best way to do it. You don't have to have any uphill, but of course don't cheat while you're doing it. And I'm not talking about steroids or that all shit. I'm talking about putting your feet to the side, or people just literally doing that just to get them stupid thing with like the freaking dog that from Geico that runs their shit for them. Yeah, stupid, isn't it? There was also that. Thank God that didn't happen. You also have to somehow not stop, but you have to go 5 miles an hour until you reach 10 miles. Exactly 10 miles. You can go more, but you don't have to go more than 10 miles. You got to do it 5 miles an hour. Of course, no cheating of any sort. And you also cannot get off the treadmill. You cannot pause the treadmill either. You cannot even take a break. The only break you had was water or pop or whatever the item you had on the side of the treadmill if you had it. Guys, this was the pressure cooker for me. My training is officially over, and the reason why I did this challenge was because I was slacking off a few days, not because of college football, but because of, or baseball or whatever, postseason baseball or whatever, but because I had stuff I had to do. Laundry, other stuff, clean my room, all that stuff, you know, the stuff that I have to do, pay bills, all that garbage. I'm on Social Security, but I want to say this to everybody. To all people who are very far right on this, that hate Social Security, that are Trump supporters, that think Trump is still president, whole Trump and nothing but the Trump. I've already done enough with the Biden stuff and the feminazi stuff. Now I'm going to get to you Trumppublicans. And yes, you are a Trumpublicunt. Now don't get me wrong. I got friends that are Biden supporters, and I got friends that are Trump supporters, and I got friends that didn't vote for either one. Does that mean they didn't vote? Not necessarily. Because I didn't vote for neither one either. I voted for Tulsi Gabbard. You can't blame me. And I can bitch because I did vote. I took my ass off there to go and vote. Tulsi Gabbard, we need you as president. Trust me, we do. So with that being said, to everybody, let's get to the Trumpublicunt version of people in this state. I've already done enough with the feminazis, the transgenders. It's now time for the Trumpublicans. To all Trumpublicans, and I'm not just talking people who voted for Trump just for that because they didn't want to vote for Biden. I understand that. That's an exception. I know a few people like that, but they had no choice but to do that. That's their vote. They can bitch. This is the Trumpublicans. Everything Trump, the whole Trump, and nothing but the Trump. Trump is God. Trump rules. Trump 2024. Fuck your feelings. Trump is still president. Election was rigged. Fake news. Huge. Bigly. Oh, God. Can I name any more? Fake news. Hoax. All that shit. Trump, Donald Trump, you are the most pathetic president we have ever had in the history of America. Donald Trump, if you're seeing this, go fuck yourself. You fuck your daughter. You think about your daughter Ivanka well too much. You don't give a fuck about your other daughter Tiffany. And Don Jr. and Eric, the only innocent Trump, in my opinion, is Barron. Barron is autistic. I feel bad for Barron. I'm autistic. I definitely feel bad for Barron. I wonder what he's thinking after what he'd been through, like Chelsea Clinton was when she was around his age. Remember, it wasn't just the Kennedys, Caroline Kennedy, Chelsea Clinton, and now Barron. Well, at the time, Barron. Oh, and don't even forget for Sasha and Malia, but that's off the point. So I want to say this to everybody right now. To you Trumpublicans, you started the following. Republicans first. Herbert Hoover. Stock market crash, I apologize, correction. Stock market crash. Herbert Hoover, Republican. The war in Iraq, but that's off the point. The economy in 2008. Republican. W. Bush. Obama was not president until the year after because how the inauguration works, you start on January 20th or 21st or whatever. So Bush started the economy bullshit, not Obama. Another one I forgot. 1987. Who was president? Ronald Reagan. Republican. And Donald Trump with 2020 with COVID? Guess what? What party? Republican. So when all the fucking Republicans think the Democrats are the worst, have you looked in the mirror of what you've done also as well? I'm not saying Democrats are better than Republicans or Republicans are better than Democrats. They both have issues. Trust me, I switched my party from Democrat to nonpartisan. I had no choice. And the reason why was because of the transgender bullshit and the Me Too movement going too far. I've already explained that. Don't want to get to that again. I do want to tell you, people, you Trumpublicans are the biggest pussies I have ever met. You think Trump is still president. You think Trump is always right. You think you should have a Bible regarding Trump. Trump is a racist. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone but himself, his image. I looked at the courtroom and all this stuff. This guy is so stupid. He makes George W. Bush look smart. And if you make George W. Bush look smart, you know this guy's a dumbass. Because George W. Bush was not smart. And remember, he went to Yale, but he had C's. Now, I'll give Bush credit for some stuff, but not everything. Bush didn't give a fuck. Trump really doesn't give a fuck. And don't get me started with Biden, because Biden, I don't want him as president. I didn't vote for him. Remember, I voted for Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump, you are a disgrace to the fucking country of America. You think everything is rigged. You think everything's fake news. You think everything's a hoax. You can't even pronounce words just like Biden. You can't even somehow function just like Biden. You get triggered just like the feminazis, because you Trumpublicans are just as triggered as the feminazis, but the complete opposite. They don't like this, you like this. You don't like this, they like that. I've been saying this for the God knows how many years already, and that's why I switched my party to nonpartisan. That is why I didn't vote for Trump, let alone Biden. So people, I want to tell you this, Trumpublicans. You don't give a fuck. You only care about money, drugs, and the next dick you want to bang. You can't admit when Trump does something wrong. But what if Bill Clinton would have done that? You got all crazy when the Monica Lewinsky scandal happened. And trust me, I was 10 years old. I remember everything that happened then. So when someone fucks an inmate, oh, it's a big deal. But just remember, Donald Trump fucked a fucking porn star and got all that shit taken care of. And even got worse than what it is now. So now Trump is liable on some things. And yet he still thinks it's a hoax? You say that in a courtroom. I'm surprised the judge didn't arrest your ass. I'm surprised the judge didn't give you death. You, Donald Trump, don't know shit about law, and Trumpublicans, you definitely don't know shit about law. You think it's everything about the military and Back the Blue and all that? Well, I'm going to tell you about Back the Blue. Back the Blue don't work for every blue officer. I don't support every officer. Do I respect the law? Yes. I respect the law for everything. Now, do I think some law should change? Yes. Do I think law should never change? Yes. But do I think there should be no laws at all? Absolutely not. If we had no law and order in USA, we all be dead by now. So to all you Democrats and even Republicans, Back the Blue doesn't always work. And there's some blue officers that are terrible. There's 3 types of cops. Good cop, bad cop, and cops who shouldn't be cops. And we see more of 2 and 3 rather than 1. Trust me, I know this shit. That's number 1. And number 2, you people in Nebraska don't know shit about this. How many sides of the story there should be? Not 1, not 2, 3 at least. 3 at least. There's 3 sides to each story. 1, 2, and truth. A cop who's about to retire after this year's over. Thanks, Tim. Love you, bro. A cop that I know from poker a long time was about to retire after this year's over. I'm going to miss him. That cop, I loved in poker and I loved him what he did. Because the cops now, he even said this, the cops now are not going to be great later on. He was right. Now, here's the thing, though. I do respect the law. I respect the law. I don't respect officers because officers enforce the law. They're not lawmakers. They don't know everything about law, unfortunately. Trust me. Do I think people should own a gun? Yes. Do I think everyone should own a gun? Absolutely not. Felons specifically. If you're a felon, you have no right to own a gun at all. You fucked up, you're going to pay the consequence. Now, as far as felons, do I think they should be on Section 8? Absolutely. But here's the problem with that. Federal law. If you are convicted as a felon, you cannot be on Section 8 ever again. And I mean ever again. My mom, who's from New York, did not even... I'm like, are you that stupid, Mom? You did not know this and you're from New York. It's a federal law. If you are on Section 8, if you're a felon, you cannot be on Section 8 ever. Ever. For the rest of your life. You're banned from Section 8. It's a fact. Law don't lie. So, Trumpublicans, you think get a job and all that? You think you're awesome? You started COVID. Gas was actually cheaper in 2020 because of the quarantine, dumb fucks. It wasn't because of Trump being the lowest gas and everything. Think about what was going on in May all the way to June and July. Use your brain. Use the head you should use, not the head you don't know how to function with. So, to you Trumpublicans, you glorify a racist, a person who doesn't give a fuck about anyone but himself, a person who's actually a criminal now, and not to mention, he's liable for $25 million worth of stuff that he did from his company. And there's many more on the way. Trust me, Trump isn't any better than Biden. But I voted for Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm now glad I did. Unfortunately, I don't even know if I should vote for anyone, or should vote for myself. Hey, I'm now legal to be president, so I can't vote for myself. Oh, and it can count. Heck, there's people that voted for Mickey Mouse. There's people that voted for Mickey Mouse. Yeah. It's a fact. 10% of the entire population who voted, who was registered to vote, voted for Mickey Mouse. Look it up. So to you Trumpublicans, you're a bunch of privileged pussies. You never had to suffer one time in your life with income suffering. And I'm not talking about child. I'm talking about adult. I had to tell a person off of this privileged bitch one time, a few years back. You suffered as a child with no money or being poor. You didn't suffer as an adult being poor. There's a huge difference between suffering as a child being poor and as an adult. Had it not been for Social Security, I wouldn't be where I am to this day. And to you Trumpublicans, you always question, well, why are you in a suit and tie? Why are you driving? Why can you afford this when you're on Social Security? I'm like, first and foremost, have you ever heard of Christmas? And have you ever said, don't judge what you don't know? Inheritance. People like you think, get a job, everyone's hiring. Everyone is not hiring. If everybody was hiring, we would not be in this situation right now. Everybody would be employed if everyone was hiring. And it would be much easier than you Trumpublicans think it's easy to get a job. It's not easy to get a job. And to you Trumpublicans, you should know what at-will law is. And it's not right to work. You people in Nebraska don't understand the difference. At-will law, and this is the final thing I want to say before I go. At-will law. Here's an example of at-will law, job-related. Right to work is nothing irrelevant to at-will law. At-will law is this. You can get fired for having blue hair, wearing a tie, wearing a red dress, or doing your job correctly for the last 20 years. In other words, at-will law, except for Missouri, which I know this is not true in Missouri and South Dakota. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Missouri doesn't have this, and neither does South Dakota wants to change that. At-will law. A company can fire you without a reason. That's in Nebraska. That's in Iowa. And union people, that doesn't count you. That does count you too. That does count you. You can come to work and they say you're fired, you have to leave. And if they mean it, you got to leave. Some places give you a grace period. Sometimes some jobs can give you another week. Some people say, you're fired, you got 15 minutes to get the hell out of here. And if you don't get out of here, I'll have security walk your stuff out of the door. And they'll be grabbing this to your door, to whatever it is to. And if you refuse to leave at any time, you'll be arrested. So, to you people who think you're all that privileged, never suffered once in your life without a job, never suffered once without income, there's this between family suffering, personal suffering, and income suffering. Not everybody's hiring. So at-will law, here's the thing about getting a job. It's not as easy as people think. You don't go like back in the 90s and 80s and 70s to go to a job, get an interview right away, and they'll hire you. That's not how it works, unfortunately, anymore. And I hate that. And guess who started that? George W. Bush, economy, 2008. I remember shit, because I'm not stupid, unlike people like you who are privileged and don't give a fuck. Another thing, at-will law, you can do your job correctly, and if you're fired, you're screwed. You're pretty much, the point of the matter is they don't have to have a reason to fire you. So if they say you're fired, they don't have to give you a reason. They don't have to by law. Nebraska is part of that, of at least 40 states that do have that at-will law. So to everybody, why don't you get educated, because people in Nebraska, let alone America, are illiterate. Speaking of Nebraska and illiteracy, we haven't been this illiterate since 1992. And trust me, I saw the news story, and it's a fact. And the facts don't lie. So not everything in the news is true, don't get me wrong, but not everything in the news is fake either. It's pretty much 30% true, 70% fake. Now, can I somehow enjoy my night? So to everybody, have a nice day. Enjoy the middle of October. Welcome to fall, everybody. Welcome to postseason baseball.